Hello world, this is Prince, and you're now tuned in to Prince in the City show. Today I am in the city of East Boston, Massachusetts, sitting inside the headquarters of Celeste Ribeiro-Myers, candidate for State Representative here for the whole, I believe, of East Boston, Massachusetts. Celeste is a longtime resident here in East Boston. She is a co-chair of the NoEastieCasino Movement, as well as a champion in grassroots organizing. Celeste, thank you so much for being on the show, and I do appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me today. I appreciate it, Prince.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and start the question or start the conversation of introducing yourself to my audience out there and what you're doing now.
Sure. So I am a lifelong East Boston resident, and most recently in East Boston, I led the initiative to stop the introduction of a casino into our community. And I'm currently running for state representative because all along the way, folks have been clamoring for an independent voice to represent the community, and I believe that I'm that person.
That's cool. So tell me, what makes you qualify for this position? And because it doesn't take anybody, to run for state representative. And then along with that, what are your issues that you're advocating for?
Sure. So to try to be as succinct as possible, because I think it takes a lot to make you qualified.
Yeah.
The casino fight started really with concern over an inappropriate development in the community. When we realized it was going to be thrust on us, we had to really ramp up really quickly, develop a political capability, a campaign capability, and the understanding to be able to tear apart each element of this. And I helped to lead that effort, and so
yes,
I think
you did.
that really can be applied across the board to every issue that faces the community.
Yes, and just kind of paint the picture of what really was going on. Last year, we had a vote as far as having a casino here in East Boston. I had a chance to, at the time, to represent her father, John Ribeiro, as his campaign manager. And it's just, as far as the atmosphere, it was like the sky was going to fall. And I was skeptical, including everybody else who was very rational as far as if this vote will ever get to the floor, and as far as having a casino here in East Boston. And I have to tell you this, she single-handedly beat a huge major corporation, Suffolk Downs. And I was there when the results came in. It was unheard of. So this really kind of makes her, as far as this makes her qualified to be state representative. So I just want to point out that.
Well, thank you. I don't know about single-handedly. It did take a robust movement, and it definitely was indicative and a reflection of the East Boston community that got involved. But I was so happy to be one of the folks to be able to help motivate those people and encourage those people to get out and voice their point of view and to share that with their neighbors. And so thrilled to lead the charge and looking forward to the opportunity to do that at the State House for a broad spectrum of issues, which not the least of which is development, equitable development here in this community. Healthcare, education, quality of life issues, and inclusiveness.
Right.
This has always been a community that has always been ever-changing, ever-growing, almost a chameleon of sorts. But it's always been a home and welcoming to folks that want to roll up their sleeves and contribute and be the lifeblood of this community. And we need to make sure that all of those voices are heard, all of their needs attended to, and that's really my true mission, a true independent, inclusive voice at the State House, advocating for us, not big investors, not big developers, and not a politician for the sake of being a politician, but to be there to represent the people.
Great. Now, let's go into community service. Now, your life has always been about public service. Your father has been telling me that he put you to work when at the age of 11 years old as far as giving back to the community. So I want to get your version as far as your life and how that started.
Sure. Well, look, I come from a working class family, and it may be a trite adage, but it does take a village to raise a family and to raise a community. And it was a sentiment that was instilled with me very early on, not even just by talking, but by doing and by example, that when your neighbors have a good quality life, then you have a good quality life. When your community is a place that people feel welcome, then you feel comfortable and safe and can thrive and be successful. So very early on, I started with Crossroads Family Shelter, babysitting the kids so their parents could attend meetings and that sort of thing. When I was 14 years old, I volunteered at the Soldiers' Home in Chelsea with some veterans. I volunteered at the community center my real love is events and event planning. That's my hobby. And at the age of 15, I developed my first community citywide event. Not even just East Boston, but citywide event. And I've been thrilled to have so many opportunities since then. I was, chair of Sacred Heart Festival, where we developed a neighborhood-wide event that brought in Grammy Award-winning entertainment, that had vendors, multiple venues, and cumulatively over a 5-year stint, 3 of which I was chair and dealt with everything from permits to porta potties and everything in between. We raised over $50,000 in just fundraising, not to mention the expenses for the event. So really, that was kind of been my community service to that point. Community galvanizing initiatives, but when the time came and the need arose to protect the community, that's where I felt like I really had to roll up my sleeves and dig in. If those that we chose to represent us weren't going to take that mantle up, then I felt my responsibility to at least engage. And it took on, as you described, a life of its own. It was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable to be a part of. Awesome.
Well, now I want to get to a funny question here. Do you mind, being on the campaign has its ups and downs. So, do you mind sharing with my audience an embarrassing story on the campaign trail?
An embarrassing story on the campaign trail. I don't know if it's necessarily an embarrassing story, but when people are used to seeing you in a certain light, they think of you in a very specific way. There are a lot of folks out there that believe I'm a very, very serious and stoic person. And I don't even know if you've been able to see as much of my light side, but I'm pretty lighthearted. I have a pretty good sense of humor. I'm one of 6 kids. I have my own family pretty young. And I've really had to roll with a lot of punches, so I'm pretty easygoing. So recently, and obviously we were on the campaign trail. You know how it is. You have to be at as many places as possible. And some places are more comfortable to be at, other places not so much. So recently I showed up at a open mic night event, and folks were surprised to see me there out at, late at night and, not home. I guess they think we tuck ourselves into bed at 8 o'clock. And, And so they were surprised to see me there, and they were even more surprised to see me take the microphone. So I got up and I took the microphone, and people were just shocked and blown away.
Were you campaigning, or were you just...
I was doing a little bit of both. I mean, I was out, hanging with the people. But I'm actually a karaoke chick at heart, and I haven't been able to take advantage of that. So people were pretty shocked and surprised, and I was pretty amused by how taken aback people were by me taking the microphone. So that was fun. That was entertaining. I'd like to do more than that. I'd like to do more of that. I think that was one of my most fun stops along the trail.
Oh, cool. Oh, great. Well, we're going to end this conversation pretty soon. And is there anything you want to say to your audience out there, especially East Boston? Words of encouragement, or maybe some words of your fellow opponent, Carla Bazile, in the coming weeks? I know this race is pretty heated. Any words you want to share out there before we end?
Sure. Again, just to further go down the path of the note of folks having a very specific perception of what a candidate is like and what a candidate's agenda is or initiative is. Ultimately, my goal is to make sure that we truly have an independent voice at the State House. I am an independent candidate. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an East Bostonian. And my only goal is to represent the folks here in East Boston. I'm an independent voice. I took the People's Pledge. I pledged to not take any money from outside interests or lobbyists. I challenged the incumbent to do the same. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to do that. And I will not be beholden to anybody else other than the people of East Boston. It's not my goal to be a career politician. There is a huge gaping hole in our representation here in East Boston. My goal is to fill that, to be a voice, to take that same energy with which I've lived my life, with which I've done my community service, and certainly with which I fought the casino, and apply that to all of our issues, our needs, our interests, to proactively seek out legislation and policy to partner with that benefits all of East Boston, and certainly to protect us against anything that's predatory. And I appreciate your consideration in November.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Now, if my audience out there wishes to contact you, in any way, form, where can they go?
Sure. You can check out my website. It's celesteforEastBoston.com, and there is an email facet there. You can email the campaign directly, and I answer personally a large degree of those emails, and they get forwarded to me for my answering too if I don't pick it up on the first round. And it's celesteforEastBoston@gmail.com, and we're on Facebook under Celeste for East Boston, Facebook me directly. I can never have too many friends, so Celeste Ribeiro-Myers. I'm glad to have more friends, and reach out. And we've got campaign headquarters here. Reach out, message me. I'll get back to you personally. Any questions, any concerns, any inquiries. And if you'd like to get on board the campaign, we can use your help. We can use help spreading the word here in East Boston.
Great. Well, thank you, Celeste, so much, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Prince. I appreciate it.
Great. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. For more people in politics, you can go to my personal website, www.princesdailyjournal.com. And also, if you want to listen to my radio talk as well as interviews, go to www.urbusinessnetwork.com. For my guest here, Celeste, and for myself, this is Prince in the city. Until next time, guys, be well and stay classy. Say goodbye.
Bye.